to enrich uranium. Now, if you have
we have the right to stop them, and that's what we've done.
Enriched at the level of 3%, that is not a nuclear weapons program. You need it at least 90%. It is ridiculous to pretend that if you have 3%
that's so silly, and that's
uranium,
it demonstrates
that is a nuclear weapons program. It's nonsense.
Or you're intentionally lying to your audience. Once you get to 3%, you are 70% of the way to 90%.
You are entitled to enrich uranium according to the Non-Proliferation Treaty that Israel is
not according to the United States, they aren't. And so the question is, if you are right...
The Non-Proliferation Treaty is available in the UN database. Read it, and it says every state has the right to enrich uranium.
Iran is not entitled to enrich uranium,
and that's what Iran is doing.
The United States says it's not. And
so, all right.
That's what the United States says. That's a non-proliferation treaty that every country in the world, with the exception of Israel, is a party to.
Call the international law police and send them to the White House.
Okay, well then, okay, Will, let me ask you this question, Will. Then why does the US get to be the international law police then? You're saying that, yes, they may be able to within the non-proliferation treaty, but the US says they can't. So what makes US the mediator?
The P-2 bomber.
So Might is right?
Yes.
All right, then.
We are the most powerful nation in the world. We are also a very benevolent force. But because we have such a strong military and the willingness to use it, are in a position to tell the Iranians, you don't get to enrich uranium. And the only reason you would want to do that is to build nuclear weapons. And so they can point to whatever treaties they want to. We don't care. We are not okay with the Iranians having nuclear weapons capability. We will enforce that red line with the most powerful military in the world, as we have done.
Shalom, all praises to Yahweh Shem Shai, double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well, who taught us this truth. I came across this video and I wanted to do a response on it because what we see here is we see a perfect example of why, the scriptures, clearly show us that these self-proclaimed whites, which are the biblical Edomites, this is, that video is yet another proving factor that they themselves are the wicked, okay? Because, they are openly telling you that they don't care what the Non-Proliferation Treaty says. Now, this is, let's get the understanding on it. It says, the NPT, which went into effect in the 1970s, is a landmark agreement aiming to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons, promote cooperation on peaceful nuclear energy, and advance nuclear disarmament. So this was established in 1970, and the crazy thing about it is that this was established after America, Babylon made fire fall from heaven by dropping those two bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So, just let's not forget that these Edomites used the most deadliest weapons and, slaughtered innocent people, okay, and then turned around and wrote a law saying that nobody else could do it, okay, and now, after they wrote that law, now they're saying that they don't even care what's in the Non-Proliferation Treaty, because what does the Non-Proliferation Treaty says? It says that people that don't have nuclear bombs are not going to build bombs. It says people that do have nukes would practice a good faith to, try to reduce and eventually eliminate nuclear weapons. And then here's the part that other professor is, saying. It says the treaty recognizes the right to use nuclear energy for peaceful purposes and encourages sharing technology subject to safeguards. And so when that other professor was saying, well, they can enrich up to 9%, which is a big difference from 90%, which is what's required to build a bomb. The guy is blatantly saying, I don't care. Okay? And, we see the blatant hypocrisy, okay? And that's why these people have to go down. Job 20, verse 5. Even Job spoke about it. It says that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite, but for a moment, man. These people are so scared of other countries having the same armaments that they have. Okay, why? Because they understand, man, that that they are owed a recompense for the evils that they have done. And the crazy thing about it too is that he had the audacity to say that we are a benevolent people. What's that word benevolent mean? It means someone that is kind and well-meaning. Are they being benevolent now? Towards the Iranians? Are they being benevolent now towards the so-called Cubans? You know, they've got no power. You know, ultimately, what it comes down to is these Edomites don't want anybody to get nukes. Why? Because they're scared of justice. This is Proverbs 21 and 15. This is in the NLT. It says, justice is a joy to the godly, but it terrifies evildoers. And that's exactly what these people are, man. They are the wicked. Because what is justice? Let's get the definition. Let's get the etymology of justice here. It says, the meaning, it says, right order, equity, the rewarding to everyone of that which is his due. And the scriptures talk about the reward. Matter of fact, let's get that in Revelation 18 and 6. Let's get that right here. It says, reward her. This is talking about Babylon, America. Reward her even as she rewarded you. This is justice. Isn't that what we just read here? Going back to it, says the rewarding to everyone of that which is his due. Let's go back to the scripture. It says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she has filled, fill to her double, man. And again, it goes back to what we brought up in the book of Proverbs, man. Let's get that one more time. It says, justice is a joy to the godly, because, ultimately, who are the godly? The godly are, the so-called blacks, natives, and Hispanics. We are the original sons of God, because let's not forget that there's three groups of people. There's the sons of God, which are the Israelites, okay? Psalms 50, verse 5, talks about those who made a blood covenant with him, so we are the sons of God. Okay, and then there's the sons of men, okay, which are the other nations, and then there's the sons of the wicked, or the sons of the evildoers, and these are the Edomites, okay, and they blatantly, he himself blatantly told you. Matter of fact, let's go right here, about right here.
We are the most powerful nation in the world. We are also a very benevolent force. But because we have such a strong military and the willingness to use it, are in a position to tell the Iranians, you don't get to.
Because we have a big military, we get to rule the world, okay? And going back to what I said at the beginning of the video, this is their own words. What's the scriptures? Don't the scriptures say that their own tongue shall fall upon themselves? They themselves are telling you who they are, okay? And they are Esau, Edom, okay? Because let's get Genesis 27. Let's start at 38. It says, and Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. Verse 40, and by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So the point here is that the blessing that Esau got, which when you go into the 25th chapter of Genesis, these are two manner of people, two nations, okay? So one nation of people, the Edomites, were given the power of the sword. Matter of fact, when you go in Revelations, let's go to the 6th chapter, because this is also mentioned in verse 4 of chapter 6. It says, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. These are the Edomites, man. This is how we prove who the wicked are. This is how we prove, a very, basic and foundational scripture. Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Okay, he covers the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. What was the blessing? And it said, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. This is when the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. All right, because he's got the whole earth, he's got everything in it, and the dew of heaven. Job 9 and 24 calls Esau Edom the wicked. The earth is given. We just read that blessing. And that's exactly what, that's exactly what we're seeing now. We are seeing these Edomites in their position of power because it's been given to. They have the best homes. They have, they run all of the businesses that run. They own America. These Edomites own America. They own the world, specifically, with Amalek, which is the head tribe. Okay, which Amalek are the Israelis, man. Because they are not the people, man. People want to. How do we know that they are not the people? Because what's the very first thing that they tell these so-called Americans? Well, Israel is our greatest ally because they're the only democracy in the Middle East. Well, wait a minute. The scriptures talk about when the 12 tribes, not just the Jewish tribe, but when the 12 tribes go back to the land that King David would be over them, man. That sounds like a monarchy to me. So if they're telling you that they're the only democracy in the Middle East, but the scriptures talk about a monarchy, why? I mean, obviously they're not the people, man. And so, this is ultimately why they're scared, man, because they know what justice is, man. Let's get Jeremiah 51 and 1. Let's get that. It says, thus saith Yahweh Bashim Shai, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. Again, I mean, not to, I'm going to bring it out again. Proverbs 21, verse 15. Justice is joy to the godly, but it terrifies evildoers. Man, these people are terrified because they know the scriptures. They know what's coming to America. They know I mean, how can you in one sentence say that, you are the pinnacle of a society, but yet you don't want anybody else to get the same weapons that you have because you know that they might use them against you? Well, wait a minute. If everybody loves you, if you're if you're the people with grand standing, shouldn't people like you? Why are you afraid of somebody having the same armaments as you? Because again, they know what they're owed, man. They know what they're owed. Let's get Isaiah. I want to get Isaiah 14 actually. Isaiah 14. Let's get that in the KJV because even the scriptures go into it too. It says, verse 4. Okay, and I'm gonna start to wrap it up here. It says, Isaiah 14, verse 4. Let's get the whole chapter is fire. Verse 3 says, let's start at verse 3. It says, and it shall come to pass in the day that Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. See, that this is talking about justice because just as the Israelites went off, right? Just everybody knows the story of the account of the judgment brought upon the true biblical Israelites. What? We went off, we got taken into captivity. Why is it that justice gets doled out to everybody else, but then when justice comes, when it comes time for justice to be doled out to America, then people, oh well, we don't really know. Well, yeah, we actually do know. It's in the scriptures. I just brought it out in Revelations 18 verse 6. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that just as justice was delivered unto the Israelites, so justice shall also be delivered unto the wicked. Okay, verse 4, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how has the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. And that's exactly what he himself told you. I mean, do we need to play that again? Do we need to play that again? the oppressor. Matter of fact, let's get that definition. Oppressor definition. Let's just get a personal group that oppresses people. Sounds kind of basic. Let's get the see what the yeah, oppressor on the etymology. One who exercises undue severity in the use of power or authority. And then what's that say right here? A crusher or a destroyer. Woohoo. And you know, the scripture's going to go into that too. But that's exactly what this guy said. He blatantly told you he's the oppressor. Why? Because of their military. Why? Because of that blessing in Genesis the 27th chapter.
All right, then.
We are the most powerful nation in the world. We are also a very benevolent force. But because we have such a strong military and the willingness to use it, are in a position to tell the Iranians, you don't get to enrich uranium.
How can you call yourself benevolent and then also in the same sentence say, because we are willing to use force? They are the oppressor, man. Let's go back to Isaiah the 14th chapter. It says, how has the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased, you know? And that's exactly what America is, or what America has been, you know, because the scriptures say Babylon has been a golden cup. That's past tense. People ain't, you know, this ain't the golden city no more. Come over here, you know. I mean, you have even, you know, so-called immigrants trying to go back, man, because they're tired of this shit, man. Verse 5 says, Yahweh Bashim Shai has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. All right, and this, you know, the staff and the scepter, that's a representation of rulership. Okay, and let's not, so the very next question that somebody might ask is, okay, well, if America's going down, who's next? Well, the scriptures also have an answer for that, and that's in 2 Ezra 6 verse 9. Esau is the end of the world, Jacob is the beginning of it that follows it. Okay, let's get verse 6, because remember that definition here says right here says a crusher or a destroyer, a criminal, a rapist. Man, Esau, fuck, because ain't that what they do when they go to war? Wasn't there that viral video of that soldier, you know, talking about if he gets sent to Iran, he's gonna start raping people? I mean, that's the oppressor. But remember that word crusher. It says, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hinders. And that's exactly what the man is telling you. He's saying we get to tell everybody what to do because of our army, and that's the oppressor. That's the wicked. He who smote with a continual stroke, and he that ruled the nations in anger. Okay, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing, and that's ultimately, that's the justice coming for America, man. That's the justice coming for Babylon. Let's get that definition one more time, and then we'll get that Proverbs one more time. It says, the rewarding to everyone of that which is due. And again, Proverbs 21:15, justice is a joy to the godly, but it terrifies evildoers. These people are terrified. They know the scriptures, and they know that ultimately they're going down, man. So hopefully this has been edifying, and until the next one, shalom.